In life, there can be a misinterpretation that can lead to a false evaluation of what things really are. A misinterpretation can lead to the Twin Towers falling, to believing that President Obama is foreign. It can make you believe that white is right and black is wrong and that our American Constitution needs to have another conclusion, all because of people's illusions. Misinterpretation is the blindfold over so many eyes. It is the arson that's killing so many lives. It is the false identity of making people believe that you are happy, when all actuality you are wrapped in sad rags. Because this is the positive world that we live in, with our misinterpretations giving out counterfeit tips, making people believe that somehow you're legit. As you walk away from the table of deceit, misinterpretation is chained at your feet. Misinterpretation. It is the ID that sits in so many purses and wallets throughout this nation and abroad. I'm surprised that this kind of activity hasn't been listed on the FBI's log. Because you and I, we both know it's fraud. With our fraudulent ways and our fraudulent acts, we can never truly get the facts. Making people believe this and making people believe that, from the government church house to your house, is all in that. See, I wouldn't sign a misinterpretation on my back, giving my children a false impression that somehow my life is intact, with my church cliches and my First Lady hat to the Sunday dinners that I prepared, just to keep them calm so there won't be another vicious attack on me. My misinterpretation. Walking around watering this deceitful tree. So I'm asking you, God. I'm asking you, God, to destroy the root of this unfruitful tree. My misinterpretation has become my misrepresentation. And that's what's hindering my true liberty.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
I'm reading from the book entitled Failure Ain't Final. And I know even the title would shock some people in this day and time where everybody's writing how 6 steps to be a millionaire and 3 turns to the, like you've always wanted to have. Well, who wants to talk about failure? But the reality is, every one of us in this room in some way has touched on failure. Now what we want to do is make sure that we've done the right steps to move on from it and cause it to be one of the most effective tools we've ever had. Hearing fairy tales. In 1803, Mother Goose Melody was published. Inside the collection of stories was a famous nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty. The modern version reads, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. I realize this story is just a fairy tale, and far be it from me to tell anyone what to spread or not to spread. But for me, my thoughts have changed. While it didn't take me long to memorize the story as a child, I have a different idea as an adult. You can quote me if you like. If all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again, he was living in the wrong kingdom.
All right.
See, in reality, you and I are commanded to put each other back together again. That's our job.
All right.
That's what restoration is. I've chosen not to leave others with the idea that they just have to deal with the rest of their lives as broken pieces. You can be put back together again. I think you have to check any emotions that leave you wanting to leave others in broken places.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. We really have no other choice. No matter what we've been through, no matter what we've been affected, how we have failed, or what we've done, because of the wonderful tool God has given us in restoration, we are overcomers. The task now is getting others to see it, accept it, and live it. If I'm more encouraged than ever before, then you who are reading this book will experience progress like you've never seen. You've probably experienced things that have killed others. Some of you, I'm sure you have. You've survived because there's still more in you to do. Maybe you've tripped over something. Maybe you've tripped more than once. Here's the wonderful message that I have received to give to you. No matter what you have tripped over, no matter what you've experienced, no matter what you've done, no matter how long you've done it, I need to let you know something. Failure ain't final.
What's going on over here in the musical rhythm? But I thank you so much, Paul. I really, really appreciate it. And I do profile myself as an eidetic storyteller and verbal imagery specialist, Whitney Houston super fan, proud father of the Spank. And that is who I am today. And I have a striking resemblance to Amy Brabson's husband. You can Google that person when you get home. But anyway, I thank Paul for this opportunity to stand here before you, because what I do is I tell stories, and I've become a little bit renowned, not necessarily well known, but renowned for just the stories I tell about growing up. And the reason I call myself an eidetic storyteller, I got that word from an episode of Perry Mason when I was in the 12th grade. And it actually just means having a photographic memory, which I do have. And so I like to present stories from the perspective of one with a photographic memory. So I was thinking about, we're here today, and I'm in the presence of such great speakers and such renowned authors, those of you who master in prose and putting it out there. So what would I say? I said I need to do something that's a little bit eloquent. You know what eloquent means. It's marked by forceful or flowing expression. So I said, what can I say that is eloquent today? I said, maybe I should just borrow a few words from Dr. Maya Angelou. I'm in a room full of us today, so maybe I could do some things that Maya Angelou did. And I was thinking about, as you heard in my profile, I profile myself as an estranged husband, meaning I'm in recovery right now. So I thought I might borrow some words from her poem, Recovery. A lost love, proper in conclusion, should snip the wings, forbidding further flight. But I alone, reft of that confusion, am now lifted up and headed speedily toward the light. Now that's eloquent. But I'm no Dr. Maya Angelou, I'm just Jonathan. So I said, what else can I say here? And I said, since we are in the heart of the civil rights movement here in Atlanta, Georgia, right down on Sweet Auburn Avenue, maybe I can get you to take a trip with me and we can walk back to the Harlem Renaissance. Maybe we can sit at the desk of Brother Langston Hughes, as he wrote one of my favorite poems called My Motto. I play it cool and I dig all jive. That's the reason I stay alive. My motto, as I live and learn, is to dig and be dug in return. Now that's eloquent, but I'm no Dr. Langston Hughes. I'm just So I thought about it and I said, since we are on Sweet Auburn, the birthplace of the civil rights movement, the home of Dr. Martin Luther King, maybe I could pull some prose from his favorite speech of mine, my favorite speech of his, which was I've been to the mountaintop. When he talked about a time in his life when this life was almost taken away from him from a black woman from Adrian, Georgia, who came to him at a book signing with an envelope opener in her hand, reached out to stab him, and the wound was so profound that the doctor said when he got to the hospital, if the blade came so close as that order that if he had actually sneezed, he would have died. And so he retold that story in his speech, I've been to the mountaintop, through the eyes of a little girl. Dear Dr. King, I'm just writing to let you know that I'm a 9th grade student from the White Plains High School. Let me say, not that it should matter that I am a white girl. And I read about your suffering and your misfortune. And I read how if you had merely sneezed, you would have died. I'm just writing this letter just to let you know I'm so happy that you didn't sneeze. Now that's eloquent.
All right, so as she mentioned, I did write a book called First Person. The reason why I wrote the book, a lot of people ask me, well, why did you write the book? Well, before I wrote a program called People Person, and the reason why I wrote that is because I decided that I was a people person. So, but no, seriously, T. Harv Eker, you guys heard of him?
Absolutely.
Right. Okay, so T. Harv Eker said something. He said in the interview Wednesday, he said, someone asked him, well, why did you start designing programs to build people in wealth and things of that nature? He said, well, because I was broke. I know what it's like to be broke. So I take the same concept. The reason why I decided to write the book People Person is because I was very bad in relationships. My very first book, Moment of Clarity, Diary of a Recovering Love Addict, is exactly what it says. I found out that I was a recovering love addict. You know, really looking for love in all the wrong places. So with that being said, I did a lot of bad relationship choices. I had a lot of bad choices both in romantic, friendship, and otherwise, relationship-wise. So after doing that and being so very bad at relationships, I said, okay, so here's the thing. If I'm this bad at it, how about if I spent this much effort trying to be very good at it? And that's exactly what I did. I spent time and I just immersed myself in people, you know, dealing with all type of people. Good people, bad people, happy people, sad people. all kind of people. So in doing that, interesting things happen. That's the reason why I began to develop the program People Person, where I pretty much teach people how to be a people person. Now, the name of the book is How to Get 100% of What You Want in Life, and that's absolutely true. A lot of people don't know that if you know how to relate to people, you can get whatever you want. I always tell people, I say, how can you get, I ask the question, I'll ask you guys too, how can you get 100% of what you want in life without doing anything illegal or unethical?
Loving people?
Yes, definitely. But building relationships with people, because obviously, who does this world revolve around? People make the world go round. I know. Cliche, but whatever. But yeah, like people are everything. If you're a business owner, people are your competitors, people are your partners, they're your staff, your management. Even if you're not a business owner, people are your significant others, your boo things, whatever you want to call them. That's who people are. So the thing is to try to relate to people.
Help with the labor pains. Help with the labor pains. And breathe. I gave birth to a spiritual baby, y'all, and it almost killed me. No, really. I asked God for a vision, an idea, or a dream, and He gave me my ministry. It's this book right here called The Anointed Agenda. Now, it's a Christian organizer that comes out every single year, but I got to share something with you. At the time, I didn't know nothing about birthing no babies. I mean, first of all, this kid was way too expensive. We're talking about $25,000 for the delivery cost alone. So I had me a little talk with God. It was something like this. Yo, God, now I know you up high and all, but down here on earth, money ain't growing on no trees. Oh, I got it, Master. Maybe you should just poof, drop a little manna out the sky. Well, right after I finished tripping, I heard charging, ooh, 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 I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. My God is not a God of debt. And then clearly I heard charging. And this time there was peace. So I found me a printer and I put $8,000 on a charge card to get started. About a month later, that printer called and said they were having a few problems, needed to push the deadline back. I said, okay. Then they called again. Now I'm a Christian, so I gave them some more grace. But by the third time, they said they couldn't complete it at all. Oh, hold it. I didn't forget. Excuse me. Yo, my Lord. Now I know you, my baby daddy, so what's up? This kid is now in a breached position. Can you turn it around, please? He did. That same week, I got a call from a woman named Esther. She owned a company called Print Techniques. She was a Christian woman named Esther. What an appropriate name. It was for such a time as this that she was involved. Now, she became my midwife, and I'm excited because now I'm officially an entrepreneur. I call up my home church and I let them know that their order for their planners are in, and my home church informs me that they've just ordered 2,000 planners from another company and no longer have plans to purchase mine. What? I went through proper protocol like months in advance. I met with the pastor, the executive pastor, the bookstore operator. Y'all, I wasn't some bench warmer taking up air. I was serving on 3 different ministries, a faithful tither and server, but I found myself at a complete loss for words until a friend of mine named Deshaun called me up and said, let me take you to see this mountain. I wasn't feeling them, but I went. He took me to see these mountains the day after it had rained in California. He said, Mara, God's word said if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can tell that mountain right there to move, and it'll move. He said, God will move your books because your books will do much bigger things for the kingdom than that mountain. I believed him that day, and I understood faith in a personal way, y'all, but I still needed help with the labor pains. Help with the labor pains. And breathe. That same week, I got a postcard in the mail telling me about a full gospel Baptist conference taking place in Phoenix, Arizona. I called up my best friend, Sandra. We loaded up my truck with books, and we drove to Arizona. When we got there, there were thousands thousands and thousands of people there, hundreds of churches and dozens of pastors, and my baby, the Anointed Agenda, was being introduced to all of them. I can't tell you, we almost sold out nearly of all of the planners I had ordered. You see, this was the moral of that story. God knew I had an Inglewood, California mentality, and he wanted to bless me with a United States, no, international vision. He knew I was thinking too small. Here I was with this powerful planner, and I'm trying to keep it in the family, but now the Anointed Agenda is in 22 states, 2 countries, and all because I trusted God to step outside my comfort zone and outside of my church home. So you let my baby be your reminder. God desires to trust you with something way bigger than yourself. Don't you abort that baby. That seed was planted inside of you to grow. He desires to enlarge your territory because only he can do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask and think according to the power that worketh in you. And don't tell me God is not a respecter of person. He don't love Oprah Winfrey, Paula Epworth, Mara Gale, Mona. He love you. He did it for us. He'll do it for you too.